Long before modern icebreakers carved paths through the frozen Arctic, ancient mariners ventured into those deadly waters, sailing through fog so thick it erased the horizon, past icebergs that groaned like living giants and into nights where the sun never rose. Their surviving records, etched on bone, whispered in sagas, carved in driftwood, are far more terrifying than expected. Tonight, we uncover the forgotten voyages across the Arctic seas, journeys that challenge everything we know about ancient exploration. Subscribe for more hidden histories rising from the cold. The Arctic has always been portrayed as a place untouched until modern times, an icy wilderness too hostile for ancient sailors. Yet evidence from multiple cultures paints a very different picture. Archaeological finds, genetic studies, and early manuscripts hint that long before Europeans dreamed of a northwest passage, mariners from the Arctic's edges crossed the ice-laden seas. Not explorers seeking glory, but survivors, traders, and hunters driven by necessity and courage. The oldest known Arctic maritime traditions belong to the Paleo-Eskimo cultures who existed thousands of years before the Inuit. Their tools, uncovered from sites in Greenland, Canada, and Siberia, show they were skilled seafarers capable of navigating treacherous waters in small, lightweight vessels. While they did not leave written records, their technology alone suggests an astonishing mastery of ice navigation long before recorded history. Their boats were built from driftwood, bone, and animal skins, materials fragile by modern standards. But their designs were extraordinary, flexible frames that bent with pressure, skin coverings that absorbed impacts, and shapes optimized for moving between ice flows. These ancient vessels could survive conditions that would splinter modern wooden ships. The people who built them knew the Arctic intimately. When archaeologists found evidence of Paleo-Eskimo travel across distances exceeding 2,000 kilometers, they were stunned. These journeys required crossing open Arctic waters that freeze unpredictably, navigating storms capable of smashing even large ships, yet these ancient mariners managed them repeatedly. Their migrations across the Bering Strait and northern Canada suggest seafaring far more advanced than previously believed. But the story grows darker and more mysterious with the arrival of the Tuli culture, ancestors of today's Inuit. Their oral histories speak of terrifying encounters on the sea, massive waves rising without wind, shadows moving beneath the ice, and islands that appeared and vanished overnight. While these may seem like mythic exaggerations, they often correspond to real geological events like rogue waves, ice shifts, and underwater earthquakes. Tuli whalers ventured farther into the Arctic Ocean than most ancient cultures dared. Armed with umiaks, large skin-covered boats, they hunted bowhead whales in unpredictable waters. Their voyages took them across regions where ice could close behind them in minutes, trapping entire crews. Some stories tell of hunters swallowed by sudden fog, their boats later found crushed, as if by immense pressure. One tale describes a group of whalers hearing deep, rhythmic booms beneath their boats, sounds that made the water tremble. Modern researchers believe these noises may have come from shifting ice shelves or underwater landslides. But the ancient mariners interpreted them as warnings from spirits, urging them to turn back. Not all heeded the warnings. Not all returned. The Norse arrival in Greenland added another layer to the Arctic's maritime mystery. Viking sagas describe voyages north of Iceland, where sailors encountered black pillars rising from the sea, likely volcanic plumes, and giant flows that cracked like thunder. These accounts, written centuries later, still retain chilling accuracy about the region's dangerous conditions. Some sagas even mention journeys so far north that the sea froze around the oars and the sun barely rose. While many took these as storytelling flourishes, modern scholars recognize these descriptions as typical of high-latitude summers and winters. The Vikings may have sailed much farther north than once assumed, possibly reaching regions around Svalbard or the high Canadian Arctic. Evidence supporting this comes from a surprising discovery: Viking-style rivets scattered on remote Arctic islands far beyond known Norse settlements. While not proof of full expeditions, these artifacts suggest sailors may have been blown off course, or exploring intentionally into waters previously thought unvisited until the Age of Discovery. But perhaps the most unsettling records come from Norse explorers who attempted to find new hunting grounds in the far north. One manuscript mentions a sea that steamed like a great cauldron, likely describing volcanic activity beneath thin ice. Another notes a shrieking wind that carried voices, possibly caused by katabatic winds rushing off glaciers. These eerie descriptions reveal just how terrifying the Arctic seemed to ancient mariners. More chilling still are the Norse tales of glowing horizons and red snow. Scientists now link these to auroras and algae blooms. But to sailors with limited scientific understanding, these phenomena suggested supernatural danger. Imagine rowing through endless ice while the sky pulses in blood-red light, an experience terrifying even to modern visitors. Across Siberia, the Chukchi people, one of the Arctic's most skilled maritime cultures, built walrus-skin boats capable of traveling long distances across open ocean. Their oral traditions describe voyages into the Chukchi Sea, even crossing toward Alaska during favorable conditions. Some stories speak of rival groups disappearing in the fog, never returning, their fate unknown. Chukchi hunters recorded encounters with massive shadows beneath the water, likely whales or pods of narwhals. But they also told of beasts with wide mouths that rose from below, possibly describing calving ice or underwater landslides. Their records blur the boundary between survival stories and primordial fear. On the opposite side of the Arctic, the Sami of northern Scandinavia told stories of the ghost wind, a sound that whistled beneath the ice long before a storm arrived. Modern scientists believe this may be caused by pressure changes beneath frozen fjords. But to ancient sailors, it was a warning that the sea would soon turn violent. The Sami navigated ice-rimmed fjords in small boats, often traveling at night when waters were calmer. Their knowledge of the Arctic's rhythms, when the wind shifted, when the ice cracked, was unmatched. Yet even they described areas they refused to enter, calling them places where the sea eats boats. In Greenland, ancient Inuit carved maps onto driftwood, showing routes across fjords and open waters. These maps, shockingly accurate, prove they knew how to cross regions modern sailors fear. Some carvings depict spiraling shapes in the ocean, interpreted by researchers as whirlpools caused by tidal surges beneath ice shelves. To the Inuit, these spirals represented spirits pulling boats downward. Not all Arctic voyages were for hunting. Some were migrations driven by starvation or conflict. Oral histories describe entire families loading into umiaks and drifting across dangerous channels in search of new land. Many of these migrations succeeded, but some never reached shore. Their stories survive only in fragmented legends of lost boats swallowed by white horizons. Archaeologists studying abandoned Arctic sites sometimes find food, tools, and even boats left as if crews fled suddenly. These sites imply disasters, rapid ice shifts, predator attacks, or unseen dangers forcing entire groups to escape. In such moments, records were not written, they were lived in fear. The Inuit people of the Bering Sea possessed extraordinary seafaring skill. Their bidarkas, lightweight kayaks, could withstand furious Arctic storms. Russian explorers later documented Inuit hunters traveling hundreds of miles between islands, often crossing freezing waters with nothing but bone tools and instinct. Their traditions speak of enormous waves rising without warning, capable of flipping even the most skilled mariners. Some Inuit myths mention the sea opening its mouth, a poetic description of rips, whirlpools, and sudden currents formed during tidal shifts. These dangerous phenomena could suck boats beneath the surface. While legends paint these events as creatures or spirits, modern science confirms the presence of powerful tidal anomalies in the region. Moving westward, early Siberian cultures navigated icy rivers leading directly into the Arctic Ocean. Their birch bark canoes, though fragile, traversed waters filled with hidden ice. Their stories describe the Great Cracking, a phenomenon where entire river mouths freeze, then shatter under pressure, creating explosive sounds that echo like cannon fire. Ancient mariners often mistook these for supernatural warnings. The Yukagir people, among the oldest known Arctic inhabitants, carried tales of frozen storms, moments where snow, wind, and ice combined into blinding white chaos. Hunters caught in these events were sometimes found days later, frozen upright beside shattered boats. Their records remind modern viewers just how quickly conditions could turn deadly. In Canadian Arctic traditions, the Inuit describe voyages to distant lands beyond the ice. One story speaks of a group who paddled north until the water grew thick, likely referring to slush ice. Another mentions the land where birds sleep, perhaps describing islands where migratory birds nested in massive numbers. These accounts offer glimpses of ancient Arctic exploration rarely acknowledged in history books. The Inuit also recorded terrifying encounters with shifting ice floes. Their oral histories contain warnings about the silent crush, a deadly event where two sheets of ice converge without sound, trapping boats between them. Survivors described hearing only a soft hiss before their vessels splintered under massive pressure. Throughout these stories, one theme stands out. Ancient mariners understood the Arctic not as a place to conquer, but as a living entity. Every creak of ice, every ripple in the water signaled change. They survived by listening, moving cautiously, and respecting forces beyond their control. Yet despite their expertise, these mariners ventured astonishing distances. Genetic evidence shows interactions between Inuit, Chukchi, and Paleo-Eskimo groups across vast stretches of Arctic coastline. Such exchanges would have required maritime travel, suggesting regular crossings of waters modern ships avoid. Even European explorers of the medieval period left hints of earlier Arctic voyages. Norse sailors described seeing strange kayaks near Greenland long before Inuit arrived historically. This suggests either earlier migrations or encounters with Paleo-Eskimo descendants, still unknown to history. Some medieval European maps depict mysterious islands in the far north. Friesland, Icaria, Estotland, places now believed to be distortions or lost reports of Arctic travelers. These ghost islands may have originated from forgotten encounters between Norse sailors and Arctic mariners. In Russia, Pomor fishermen navigated the White Sea and Barents Sea long before official records began. Their traditions speak of forgotten voyages beyond the Great Ice Edge, where the sea opened unexpectedly into warmer water. Today, oceanographers know such openings occur due to polynyas, areas of open sea surrounded by ice. But to ancient sailors, they seemed supernatural gateways. Pomor records mention storms that screamed like 1,000 birds, likely caused by cold Arctic air meeting warm Atlantic currents. These violent weather shifts often destroyed fleets. Much of Pomor maritime knowledge was lost during Russia's centralization, leaving only fragments of their Arctic exploits. The Greenland Norse left some of the darkest Arctic records. Their settlement collapsed mysteriously in the 15th century. Some sagas describe desperate voyages north, searching for new lands as Greenland grew colder. A few tales mention a black sea that boiled, possibly volcanic activity beneath ice. These final voyages remain shrouded in uncertainty. Excavations at abandoned Norse farms show signs of sudden departure. Tools left behind, doors unbarred, livestock untended. Historians believe climate change, famine, and conflicts with Inuit contributed to their disappearance. But the sagas hint that some fled by sea into the Arctic, disappearing forever. Modern archaeologists searching remote Arctic islands have found traces of Norse-style metalwork. Though inconclusive, these finds suggest that at least some Greenlanders attempted a final migration north or west. Whether they reached safety or perished in the ice remains unknown. Meanwhile, Inuit stories describe encounters with pale-skinned strangers appearing in remote fjords, terrified, starving, and equipped with unfamiliar tools. These accounts likely reference failing Norse settlers. Some stories say the strangers died soon after arrival. Others claim they vanished during the winter, perhaps trying to sail onward. In the high Canadian Arctic, ancient Dorset people left carvings depicting boats surrounded by massive waves and looming shapes beneath the sea. These carvings, found far from open water, suggest distant memories of terrifying ocean events passed down through generations. Some anthropologists interpret the carvings as symbolic, representations of fear, survival, or natural forces. Others argue they reflect real encounters with deep-sea creatures or collapsing ice shelves. Whatever their meaning, they reveal an Arctic maritime world filled with awe and danger. Archaeological evidence also shows that ancient Arctic mariners carried trade items across immense distances. Asian metalwork found in Alaska, North American tools found in Siberia. These artifacts indicate long-range maritime contact, long before Europeans imagined Arctic travel possible. DNA analysis adds another layer. Some Arctic populations share genetic markers that suggest ancient crossings across the Bering or Chukchi seas. These crossings required navigating harsh waters filled with icebergs, fog, and predators. The fact they occurred multiple times shows remarkable maritime capability. The Arctic's dangers were not only physical. Darkness dominates winter months, leaving sailors navigating blind through faint starlight and drifting ice. Records describe hallucinations caused by isolation, hunger, and cold. Some legends mention hearing voices beneath the ice, likely caused by ice friction or marine mammals. Even today, experienced researchers report strange phenomena in the Arctic. Deep rumbling from shifting glaciers, eerie howls from wind tunnels, and distant booms echoing through water. Imagine ancient mariners hearing these sounds with no scientific context. Their fear must have been immense. Yet despite the terror, they returned to these waters year after year. The Arctic offered whales, seals, ivory, and trade connections across continents. Risking death for survival was part of life. Their voyages shaped cultures but left few written traces. Modern technology is only now revealing how far they truly traveled. Sonar scans reveal ancient campsites along coastlines, once accessible only by boat. Underwater archaeology uncovers tools and vessel fragments buried beneath centuries of ice movement. The evidence grows each year, painting a picture of extraordinary Arctic navigation. For ancient mariners, crossing Arctic seas was not an act of exploration. It was an act of endurance. They fought shifting ice, relentless winds, unpredictable waves, and cold capable of killing in minutes. Yet their records, however fragmented, show a deep familiarity with the ocean's rhythms. These mariners understood currents, used stars barely visible through polar haze, and read the movements of animals to navigate. Their methods, though unwritten, rivaled the techniques of ancient Mediterranean sailors. Their knowledge, passed orally, shows a sophisticated maritime culture. What makes their journeys terrifying is not only the dangers they faced, but the fact that they succeeded. Modern ships require steel hulls and advanced navigation systems to cross the same waters. Ancient mariners did it with skin boats, bone tools, and intuition sharpened by generations. Many of their stories remain buried under ice or lost through colonization. Yet the fragments we have, carvings, sagas, oral histories, archaeological finds, reveal people who pushed beyond the limits of what the world believed possible. Their courage, born of necessity, forged some of the earliest long-distance sea routes in human history. As climate change melts Arctic ice, new archaeological sites emerge, offering glimpses into voyages once dismissed as myth. Each discovery reveals that ancient mariners traveled farther, braved more danger, and understood the Arctic more intimately than scholars ever imagined. The ancient mariners who crossed the Arctic seas left behind records filled with terror, crushing ice, roaring skies, shadows beneath the waves, and the constant threat of freezing death. Yet their journeys also prove extraordinary resilience and ingenuity. Their forgotten voyages reshape our understanding of early exploration and remind us that long before modern maps, humanity's boldest explorers sailed into the coldest, darkest waters on Earth and lived to tell their stories.